I don't use PM, but that's 14 o'clock, right? How? How can it be dark? Hey San, and welcome back to the next video. Today we are watching how the Swedes deal with the darkness in Sweden for Jonna Jinton. I'm very excited about this because I thought about doing my master's degree in Sweden, but I was always scared about the darkness in Sweden because I'm a person that loves to see the sun, loves to be outdoors, loves the warmth. So I was wondering, how do Swedes deal with that? Because they have to deal it every year, right? And yeah, so I'm very excited to see this in this video. And yeah, let's go.
My name is Jonna, and I live in the north of Sweden.
Wow. Is she a photographer or something? Because that looks very cinematic. And you have to have a skill for that to see how you position the camera.
Sweden is a country with a lot of light.
Which is a skill I don't have.
And it's also a country with a lot of darkness. It all depends on what season it is. Just like many other countries in the Northern Hemisphere, there is a strong contrast in the light conditions between summer and winter.
Yeah.
In the winter, it's dark almost all the time.
It's like a little bit pink, the trees were, right?
And in the summer time.
That's 40. I don't use PM, but that's 14 o'clock, right? How can it be dark? I mean, I knew Sweden is north, yeah, but I didn't think that north.
And in the summer, it's light all the time. During the summer in the very north of Sweden, the sun never sets between the end of May until the middle of July. So you can see the sun 24 hours a day, and that is called the midnight sun. And then, during the winter in the very north of Sweden, it's the opposite. For a couple of weeks, the sun never rises above the horizon.
One quick thing, please hit the like and the subscribe button. It helps me so much to grow this channel. Thank you.
Which means that there is no sunlight for about a month. And that is called the polar night.
It's crazy that you really walk over the ice with the skis, or in Germany it's more like a sport event where you travel there and then ski down a hill or something like that. And here it's just used for regular activities.
Contrasts in light is caused by the rotation of the Earth in relation to the position of the sun, and the further north you go, the bigger the contrast. I live in the middle north of Sweden, and if I'm lucky and it's a clear sky, I can see the sun above the treetops for about an hour during the darkest time of the year.
That's crazy.
It's the middle of the day, and this is how high the sun goes up now. It's just a little bit over the horizon, or over the trees.
But winters like this one, when it's been cloudy every day, I
have to say, it's incredible how beautiful Sweden is. We have all those light situations. We have the sun that is rising over the trees, and we have no pollution or stuff, no streets, no big buildings, skyscrapers or stuff like that. Of course, we probably have some in Stockholm, but it's just so much nature and it's very beautiful. And yeah, and also then you have, of course, Aurora Borealis, so I definitely have to visit Sweden someday.
Didn't see a glimpse of the sun for over a month. But just a few days ago, now in the beginning of January, I got to feel the sun on my face again.
This is the first glimpse of the sun that we see in over a month. Do you see this?
It's to not see the sun for a month.
When you begin to feel the sunlight again in January is always overwhelming. Yeah. It's like seeing the sun for the first time in your life.
Wow, how the snows move over the snow.
Even if it can be hard sometimes with these kinds of light conditions, I really love it and I would never want to change it. I think the light is never as beautiful as it is during these most extreme times of the year. When it's summer, I usually change my rhythm and stay up all nights and then sleep in the forenoon instead. The light is so beautiful in the middle of the night, and as a filmmaker and photographer, it's like a dream to be out and capture the beauty of the bright nights of June. And then in the winter, even if we don't get so much sunlight, we at least get a few hours of twilight during the day. And that light is the most beautiful kind of daylight that I know. It's like experiencing a long sunrise without a sun. And when it's a clear sky and the sun is rising just a tiny bit above the treetops, it spreads a soft and pink light all over the landscape. And that is beyond beautiful.
And then the snow looks a bit blue here. It's
Around
crazy.
3 in the day, it's already getting dark, and it makes the evenings feel never-ending.
How do you deal with that? I mean, from what I've heard, I think she lives much in the north of Sweden, so probably in Stockholm or something like that. It's not that bad, but it's also much worse than in Germany, of course. So, do you have some strategies or stuff like that to deal with those strong contrast with darkness and light? Yeah, let me know. Maybe I can learn something for my life here in Germany.
But the darkness makes us see what is never visible in the light. Because actually, we do get sunlight from thousands of suns far, far away. I live in a place where there is no light pollution, and the night sky is breathtaking. And for me, that is one of the reasons that I really love the winter here. And now and then, the sun sends us a greeting in the
How
darkness.
deep the snow is.
Particles from storms on the surface of the sun comes traveling towards the earth, colliding with our magnetic field and creating the
I
aurora
have to see
borealis,
this one day.
the northern lights that dances in the sky. I can never find the right words to describe how much I love to stand under the northern lights on a cold and dark winter night.
It's like a
I can take
firework.
the darkness and
It's like a firework, but better and natural and no pollution after that. So just, yeah, better.
any day, as long as I get to see the stars and the northern lights. It makes it all worth it. But even though there is so much beauty to find in these special kinds of light conditions that we have here in the north, I would lie if I said that it's always easy to live and adapt to them, because it's not.
Also, how vast it is, right? How much space you have and how much peace you have. No stress and oh, I have to rush there and have to rush there. It's just nature and you in it. It's very calming, like the video, of course, itself.
Well, the summer is easy. I don't think you can have too much light.
No.
The only thing that people often ask me is if it's harder to sleep when it's light all night.
You have
And for me
curtains.
personally, if I want to sleep during the night, I have no problem with that. And for those who do feel like it's a problem, it's easily fixed with some thick and dark curtains. But the winter and the darkness is definitely much more challenging. And I can
Do you know how it is with logistics or with groceries and stuff like that? Because if you are so far in the desert and so, yeah, not into civilization, that could probably be a problem. So, do you know how it is like for the people in northern Sweden to deal with all of that? Yeah, let me know.
only speak from my own experience now. The lack of sunlight makes me more tired, and during the darkest and coldest months, between November and March, I sometimes struggle to keep the energy up. It's harder to get up in the morning when it's dark outside. Our body naturally want to wake up with the sun. And in the afternoon, I often get confused with the time, since the darkness makes it feel like it's much later than it actually is. And the lack of daylight makes me struggle more as a filmmaker, since I only have 1 hour of good light to film in a day, compared to the 24-hour of good light in the summer. So the darkness, combined with the cold, make things a bit more challenging. And I know I'm not the only one struggling to keep up the energy during this time of the year.
It's exactly what I meant in the intro. You have so much greenness and leaves and trees in the summer, and the sun tells you to stand up and go outside. And in the winter, everything is gray and no tree has leaves and stuff like this. And you just want to be inside and want to sleep again. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to see how she deals with that.
But of course, there is many things you can do to make the winters a little easier. I want to mention a few things that helps me adapt better to the lack of sunlight. For me personally, I
It
think
is
that the
short.
tiredness that I feel in the winter is the hardest part. The energy level is so low sometimes, and the cure to that is not always to sleep more. It can actually be to do the opposite. So I try my best to keep being active and moving my body as much as I can, and get as much daylight as possible. I go for long walks with my dog.
The dog would be buried in snow. It's incredible how high your snow is. I don't know. The highest you can get in Germany is like this, so 10 centimeters or stuff like this, and this is probably 50 centimeters.
Every day. And if the weather is good, I like to go out in the forest with my snowshoes and my camera, or go skiing. I also love to take ice baths. It's something I started doing a few years ago, combined with breathing exercises, using the Wim Hof method, and it has become my favorite way of boosting myself with new energy when I need it the most. Going into that freezing water is actually the last thing that my body wants to do in that moment. But putting myself into that kind of discomfort is awakening something in me that helps me reset my body. Believe it or not, but cold swims and cold showers has many good health benefits.
Yeah,
It's not
I do
for
that since 3 years. Not whole shower, but in the end, always cold one time, and it's incredible how less ill I get and how much more active I am.
everyone, of course, and it's important to get knowledge before trying an ice bath if you have never done it before. But for me, it has been a great source of energy and joy during the winter time. So, I really feel a big difference in my energy levels in the winter when I move my body in some way. It doesn't need to be a full workout, but just something, a little every day, that makes you feel alive. When we can't get enough energy from the sun, I think it's even more important to make sure that we get enough energy and nutrition from our food. Nature has so much to give us in the summer that we can harvest and save for the winter when we need it the most.
What are those berries? And this green stuff.
Here in the north, we have plenty of berries in the forest, so I like to pick tons of blueberries and lingonberries and put in the freezer so that we can eat berries and drink juice from berries every single day during the whole winter. I also like to pick different herbs that are good for our health and dry them to make my own tea for the winter.
Is everybody in Sweden so in touch with nature, or at least to an extent dis in touch with nature, or is it just her because she lives so far away from society?
One of my favorite teas to drink when it's cold and dark outside is simply made out of birch leaves. I pick them just as they begin to bloom in the spring, while they are still small and light green. And the tea smells.
Birches are the trees with the white, that are white, right? Birke is a German. I don't know if it's exactly that in English.
And taste just like how it smells like in the spring. And in the middle of the winter, I think it feels so comforting to have a piece of the spring to remind you of the wonderful time to come when everything is blooming and the birds are singing again. And of course, I also take vitamin D supplements since we don't get anything from the sun in many months. Even though that would never replace the sun, I believe it can help a little bit. The list of things you can do to handle the darkness is endless. These were just to mention a few, but I think that the most important thing of all is to accept and adapt to the cycles of nature. I definitely feel a big difference in the energy during summer and winter, both in nature and in myself, and that doesn't mean that it's right or wrong, it's just different. I think the winter and the darkness can cause a lot of unnecessary suffering when we are trying to force ourselves to feel the same as we do in the summer. It's okay to feel tired. It's okay to feel lack of inspiration. And it's okay to need more sleep and to let things slow down.
I mean, you can't see in the camera, but I have goosebumps.
A flower would never force itself to bloom in the cold winter. So why would we? This way of thinking changed my way of dealing with the different seasons. I love the winters just as much as I love the summers. They both have their own benefits and challenges. And I think it gets much easier when we let go and accept what we feel instead of fighting it, and accept the cycles in nature and the cycles in ourselves and learn to live with it, like a dance.
Oh, she made it in every season. How cool is that? I would probably have forgotten if I planned to do something like that. Is this safe to have such a big fire?
So, this is how it is to live with the light and the darkness in the north of Sweden, from my perspective. The extreme contrasts in light also creates a bigger contrast to the seasons, and they all have their own beauty. I love the constantly changing seasons, and that you can see and feel how the light changes a little bit for every single day that goes by. The beautiful balance of light and darkness is my greatest source of inspiration, and it makes every day feel new and different.
This pink sky is so beautiful. And of course also this green sky. Oh. She has to take my photos if I need a new profile picture or something like that. Wow, this was such an awesome video. And I have to say, I see really now how beautiful Sweden is. And I have to say, all of those pictures were only probably her backyard. So there's much more diversity still and much more things to be seen, waterfalls, stuff like this probably. I don't know if you have fjords. I don't think so. But let me know down in the comments below. Yeah, it's just so beautiful. I have to visit Sweden someday. Great shout out for her to such an awesome video. I think she exactly says the right thing. It's always good only to think about mentality. For example, I had a diving accident and now I have a tinnitus and also pressure on the ear. That's why I'm always like balancing it out with stuff like with my eyes or with my mouth. And I was like, oh, people think I'm crazy now, I'm weird now, stuff like that. But if you are confident getting out there, people don't care really because they are thinking about your personality. And that's exactly the same thing. You can say, oh, everything is so bad. Or you can say, hey, I love this nature. And to be there, I have to deal with the difficult winter. And I think that is a very beautiful message from her. Tell me in the comments if there's more from her to check out about Sweden. Keep liking and subscribing, and we see each other in the next video. Bye!